This is the beginning of the downfall of Kathleen McCormick, the judge that ruled against Elon. The DE General Assembly decided by a 34-7 margin it was appropriate to try to restrain what amounts to judicial activism by McCormick and Laster in recent decisions, which includes Tornado versus Musk, the lawsuit about Elon Musk's compensation package. Judges are appointed to adjudicate the law, not to make the law. And the DE General Assembly is now thinking that the judge is trying to make the law, which is absolutely not okay. They talked about whether it's appropriate for the General Assembly to change the law in response to a decision in the Court of Chancery when the case at issue had not yet been resolved, but they just see that the judge is not going to be fair, so they are changing the law. A round of applause goes to Delaware, although it's a bit late now because they have lost Tesla to Texas. All of this, of course, is good news for us Tesla stock investors because let's say the judge still rules against the second shareholder vote. Well, when Tesla appeals this, Tesla then is more likely to win because Delaware overall has spoken, and it is basically in favor of Elon Musk and Tesla. 34-7. I just found this discussion, and it's roughly from the time when the final trial happened. Jason summarized it, and here's Grok's version of it. The judges are practically giving a TED Talk on how to run a board meeting instead of just calling balls and strikes. They're not just ruling on disputes, they are setting up a boardroom masterclass. The judges are giving a masterclass on how to take good corporate minutes. They're not just ruling, they're running a corporate governance seminar. The judges are more concerned with their press clippings than with the law. They're not just ruling, they're managing their media image. And you can read her ruling and see that there is some political language in here. Was the richest person in the world overpaid? Why just not say, was Elon Musk overpaid? Elon just posted long-term return on Tesla stock will, I believe, be exceptional. It was in response to this post. The vast majority of Baron Partners funds underperformance this quarter stemmed from the fund's 10-year investment in Tesla. In previous instances, when Tesla shares have underperformed during a discrete period, they have surely afterwards reflected the strong growth of the underlying business and the stock has appreciated considerably. We believe, Ron Barron says, that will be the case again. I, of course, 100% agree with that. This is a bit crazy. The California Air Resources Board has introduced incentives of up to $14,000 on EVs under a new driving clean assistance program. Wow. There are some conditions, of course, but if you live in California, you can also get the $7,500 federal tax credit and these additional incentives. No wonder EVs are so popular in California. Even GM can sell some cars over there. However, Jim Cramer just said he would rather buy GM than Tesla, even though he thinks Tesla stock has bottomed. And he really said that Mary Barra is crushing it. Well, historically, they have been very good at crushing their own EVs. In the meantime, Uber's CEO keeps cashing out big chunks of his holdings. Maybe he knows about August 8th and maybe he's a bit worried about it. Also, something interesting is happening with Nvidia. The stock is down in the last 5 days. It's down today almost 6% when I'm recording. I've seen a few people recently sell their Tesla stock to buy Nvidia stock, but that timing turned out to be terrible if they just did it. And that's because Nvidia insiders are selling. For example, the CEO just sold some stock and the market is not liking it today. Omar uploaded another video, no interventions. This one is 18 minutes long. He's demanding Tesla to release this new FSD version to the people. He says it is ready now. We know that Elon Musk sees Omar's post and maybe he will take it into consideration and actually release this FSD version to the public, or certainly at least maybe 12.4.2. Xpunk's CEO will soon release a Tesla and Waymo self-driving experience report. He will probably say FSD is great, but our software is better. Earlier, Huawei CEO said that their system in China is better than FSD in the US, but most of these systems, they rely on LiDAR and HD maps and you cannot use it anywhere. You have to meet certain conditions to use these systems, like for example, the roads have to be clearly marked. So I say that FSD is of course better because it works anywhere you take it in North America. China wants the EU to scrap plans to impose preliminary tariffs on Chinese electric vehicle imports by July 4th after both sides agreed to negotiate a possible compromise. So maybe Tesla will not have these higher tariffs to pay on vehicles that Tesla produces in China and sends to Europe. Germany especially wants to avoid this trade war because they sell a lot in China. China says they don't want a trade war, but they are ready to fight if needed. Oh, and the deadline seemingly is moving now. The EU's tariffs on Chinese EVs are set to be finalized by early November. Having lived in Europe, usually in Europe, things are not done very quickly. They take a lot of time to think about stuff, whereas in the US, they have already imposed tariffs on Chinese vehicles. There's a bit of upside or a silver lining about these tariffs if they do come into fruition somehow on July 4th, which now seems less likely. But people in Europe are trying to get their hands on some electric vehicles before potentially these tariffs go into effect. In a little bit over a week, we will know what Tesla's deliveries are for Q2. In Gary's opinion, Wall Street remains way too high at 422,000, and I am setting my expectations definitely below 440,000. Gary's estimate is 420,000, which would be 10% less year over year, which is worse than Q1, which was 8.5% lower year over year. Wall Street, however, expects some growth this year, but Gary does not. Gary only predicts 1.7 million deliveries versus Wall Street being at 1.811. Now remember that this is just short-term noise, and for us long-term Tesla stock investors, what Tesla exactly is going to do this quarter is not going to make or break anything. But I'm just setting my expectations that likely Wall Street is overestimating how many deliveries Tesla will have this quarter. And if that happens, then the expectations will go down again, driving EPS expectations down, and as earnings expectations come down, the stock may come down with these expectations as well. And by the way, Gary follows Troy's numbers very closely, and usually his number is pretty similar to Troy's, and Troy has a very good history of being better than Wall Street at predicting Tesla's deliveries. Of course, if you have been a Tesla stock investor for a while, you expect volatility, and that's just a part of being a Tesla stock investor. You have to be able to handle lots of volatility. So I'm just saying, don't be surprised if we see some volatility in the next month or the next 10-ish days. AJ shared a few thoughts about Tesla's current valuation level, not his outlook. Presently, Tesla appears to be valued in line with historic trading levels unless there's a significant 15% quarter-over-quarter EPS growth acceleration or more than that. Of course, the moment the market prices in earnings acceleration, for example, from FSD, or if the energy business keeps growing like it has been growing, or like Elon Musk is predicting it to grow this year, and then if that continues the next year and a year after that, then the stock is obviously poised to go up. It will also be interesting to see what kind of models exactly will Tesla release, the ones that Elon Musk mentioned earlier this year. And AJ continues, you can see that Tesla always, except for some brief outliers, traded at a significant premium. It's unlikely for this premium to fade away in the near to medium term with new products on the horizon. Then he shows that Tesla traded at a true PE of 70x. You can see the price earnings ratio in red here, but while this is much higher than an average company's price earnings ratio, this is Tesla we're talking about, which is run by Elon Musk. But the moment Tesla makes FSD safer than human driving, all of these valuation models are just going to break immediately. Warranty reserves are at a strong level, and recent trends suggest a low probability of a negative impact on upcoming Q2 earnings, which is good news for investors. Warranty reserve is at record high, which is good to see. Tesla set aside $1,400 in warranty reserve per vehicle, but decreasing warranty provisioning volatility suggests improving warranty expense estimation and quality control. And even though Tesla's fleet is aging, warranty cost growth is slowing. Tesla to add avoid highways option to navigation. This feature has been often requested from Tesla owners, so many customers will be happy. This is good news. LG is on track to begin mass production of its 4680 batteries in August. LG also has another 4680 plant with a capacity of 36 gigawatt hours in Arizona, which will be operational in 2026. There's one analyst that says that Tesla currently produces 120,000 cells per day, however, with a yield still below 20%. Now, this is an analyst saying that. I don't know what his source is or if he's just guessing, but 20% yield would mean out of every 10 batteries made, only 2 are actually good. The Tesla Cybertruck's international tour is going to Thailand for the summer and will be touring the country until September. Jeff Lutz is a supply chain expert, and he says, this is from this new interview that Elon Musk has done. This is more about SpaceX, but he says, I've never heard a CEO speak on DFX or line balancing in this matter detail understanding as Elon does. Never. This gets a bit technical. Feel free to pause and read if you're interested. But basically, Elon knows what he's doing when it comes to manufacturing. Elon actually replied to this in great detail. Don't bet against an entrepreneur that has these engines in the background and knows what he is talking about. Look at these engines. These are beautiful. It's also just incredible how many they are building. People laughed when Elon said they would be building one a day. One day, I will probably become a Starlink or SpaceX investor, so I want to look into this a bit deeper. Elon says we could build a lot more, but the next version of Raptor is really the one to scale up production. We begin testing it in McGregor within a week or so. Regenerative cooling and secondary flow paths have been made integral to the whole engine, thus no heat shield is required. Nothing quite like this has ever been done before. Well, it's not like the first time Elon Musk is doing something like that. Taking away the engine heat shields also removes the need for 10 plus tons of fire suppression behind the engine heat shield, as any gas leaks simply enter the already superheated plasma surrounding the engines, rendering the leaks irrelevant. Well, there you go. Elon Musk is doing Elon Musk things again. Those who think that Elon Musk is not going to pull off another impossible move with Tesla are greatly mistaken. Dr. Know-It-All, who understands more of the technical aspects of these things, he says no one really understands how radically different these engines are to anything that's been done before. This post is getting some attention. Workers load wood and insulation onto Cybertruck using aftermarket track. And as you can see here, this Cybertruck is actually being used to get some work done. It's not just a truck to show off. We are now also seeing some totaled Cybertrucks. Let's take a look. This one has been deemed a total loss? Really? It doesn't even look that bad at all. What happened to it? Did it flood? Actually, no. This one has been involved in a significant front-end impact that resulted in an airbag deployment. I would like to see the other car. Oh, okay. From this side, it doesn't look that good. Supposedly, the impact was actually big, and often what happens is you end up with suspension damage and some body alignment issues. Now, this second one is also a total loss, but it flooded, so that makes sense. We know that Cybertrucks can go through pretty deep water for a short period of time if you put it in wade mode, but you cannot just flood it for a long time. Tesla doesn't recommend going past 2 feet and 7 inches, which is probably about this much. Probably it's kind of wrong, but very roughly it's about that much. A water and the flood line on that truck seem to actually be lower than that, but we know that Tesla can only keep the battery pressurized for 30 minutes. For how long did it flood? It probably flooded for more than that. And was it in wade mode when it was being flooded? Probably not. So careful, people. Don't get your Cybertrucks flooded. Well, this is pretty cool. Tesla is in talks with Michelin to test new airless tires. Although I have heard Elon Musk talk about this specific thing before, and he said it's not likely that Tesla would ever use something like this, but it's at least good to see that Tesla is exploring and trying this, but I don't have my hopes high. I doubt these tires would be good for Tesla's range. Fairlead strategies say that Tesla stock is being set up for a counter-trend rally in the weeks ahead. This is based on their technical analysis though, so let's see what their stock astrology analysis says. Short-term resistance for Tesla is near 207 $110, while initial support is around $169. I don't really take these seriously, but sometimes it's just fun to look at it. Given the bullish posture of our intermediate term gauges, we would not rule out a move towards long-term resistance. We would keep in mind that the counter trend setups hold more risk, so we would be not committal and utilize risk management tools such as a stop loss discipline. So what I'm getting from this is that if we go above $225, there could be a bigger rally coming up because basically it would break the trend.
Now, Elon Musk is a busy man. Between running Tesla and X, formerly Twitter, of course, he secretly fathered a third child with the mother of his young twins, who is an executive at his brain chip implant company, Neuralink. They met at work. Who would have believed
Scandal.
it? Siobhan Zillis gave birth to her third child with billionaire Musk earlier in the year, according to Bloomberg. That means he now has 12 children.
Elon Musk believes there are too few people on this planet, and certainly he is doing his part to increase the population. I have no objections.
Musk is Tesla, Tesla is Musk. And I think ultimately, right now, Tesla is the most undervalued AI play in the market. I mean, I believe the AI component of Tesla could be worth 1 to 2 trillion alone. And this, in my view, this is really the beginning of what is going to be just a massive stage of growth for Musk and Tesla. August 8th, in my opinion, will be a historical day for Tesla.
Some physical buttons might be coming back to Tesla because new Euro NCAP tests due in 2026 will encourage manufacturers to use separate physical controls for basic functions in an intuitive manner, limiting eyes off the road time, therefore promoting safer driving. Those manufacturers who do not do it will not have the highest safety ratings. Physical switches will be necessary for indicators, hazard lights, sounding the horn, operating windscreen wipers, and activating the eCall SOS function. Yeah, I really would not want to press somewhere on the touchscreen to sound my horn. That would be incredibly dumb. So they are not requiring you to have these features, just if you don't have them, you won't have the highest safety rating. That's it for this video. Make sure to like and subscribe. And on Patreon, I uploaded a new video. When will I sell Tesla stock? If you are a Patreon member, go ahead and watch it now. If you are not, feel free to join with the link down below. By joining Patreon, you will have access to all of my exclusive videos on Patreon, as well as how much I am willing to pay for each Tesla share between 2024 and 2033. If you join the investor tier, you will also have access to my valuation model, where you will see all of my assumptions, including deliveries, the energy business, Tesla's future businesses like FSD, and of course much more. And then if you want to easily download that and put in your own numbers, then this third tier is for you. To all of my Patreon supporters, thank you so much. Make sure to like the video and subscribe if you haven't yet as well. It's really important to like the videos because that makes it less likely that the channel will be shadow banned later, like my other big channel got shadow banned before from about 50% of my regular viewers. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.